So moms and dads, people who are taking this course, if you have never really contemplated the power of nutrition, I want to share something very personal with you. So when I was in my late 20s, I was what I thought was a very healthy man. I was a competitive bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder, never taken steroids. I had spent the majority of my adult life being a bit of a fitness junkie. And suddenly, when I was in my late 20s, 29 years old, I had a sudden onset of a very, very, very nasty respiratory infection. This respiratory infection, unfortunately, didn't go away. It progressed to a point where I couldn't hardly breathe. I couldn't stop coughing. I began to spit up blood, and it became really scary. I was to a point where when I would go to my pulmonologist to go and have spirometry performed, I couldn't even do the test. And if those of you who don't know what spirometry is, what it is, it's a respiratory measure they use for asthmatics, people who are having issues with lung function, to see how much your lungs can inflate, to see what their capacity is. And so when I went in, I couldn't even perform the test. I could not stop coughing long enough to be able to perform the test. I had a series of tests done, and my pulmonologist comes to me and says, "Scott, you have a condition that is called bronchiectasis." Now, for those of you who've never heard of this, bronchiectasis falls into the class of diseases of COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is a scary prognosis because when you get this kind of a condition, it's potentially permanent. It can potentially require surgery to remove your lung. And I was told that if this did not resolve in a very short period of time, we were going to be looking at surgery. And so I obviously was left with a very dire situation because everything that I knew about my health was completely turned upside down. So I had gone on to antibiotics. I had tried multiple medications and nothing was working. I was not responding. Nothing was changing. And time was going by. When I say time, we're talking now months and then turning into years, and it wasn't getting better. My condition was getting worse. And in the interim, I decided that I was going to go to chiropractic school because I said, I still had to have a career. And I went back in my late 20s and I began chiropractic school at the age of 32 years old. And so 3 years now I'm into this and I'm still spitting up blood. I'm still dealing with this. I've been on inhaled corticosteroids and they weren't helping. Nothing was improving my symptoms whatsoever. So in the midst of this, I started taking a lot of nutrition courses. And there happened to be one in particular that was a very specific course on anti-inflammatory nutrition, and it changed my life. We went in, my wife and I, to the first module, and we have a tremendous amount of education in our curriculum about biochemistry and pathology and immunology. And so I knew this stuff inside and out. And the doctor was presenting the information and laid out this framework. Said, food can either drive inflammation to occur in your body, making you sick, or food can be used to heal your body by bringing down inflammation and lowering the risk factors for disease, or oftentimes stopping it in its tracks. Now, I'm sitting there going through this course, taking this information in, and not for 1 second did it ever cross my mind that any of this was going to help me, because I had been given a prognosis by my healthcare practitioner, my pulmonologist, that this was my lot. This was what was going to happen. My lung was going to come out at some point, and it was what it was going to be. So I'd kind of given up hope. But my wife and I, we go through this course and we said to ourselves, this seems like something that we should try to see if it can be something our patients would be able to apply in their own lives. And so we decided that when we left, we committed ourselves to, for 30 days, that we were going to eat nothing but anti-inflammatory nutrition. And so we emptied out every inflammatory food that we had, followed a very strict framework, which wasn't that hard because there was actually a lot of foods that we liked. But we went hardcore for 30 days so that when we came back for the next module of this course, that we'd be able to see what it did to us. And so let me tell you what happened. In the course of this 1 month hardcore anti-inflammatory period, I dropped 25 pounds. Guys, I wasn't fat. I wasn't even a little heavy. I was a bodybuilder. I was swollen. And I wondered why I was peeing all the time. And what it was I was urinating out all this cellular inflammation that I had accumulated from all of the foods I had been putting into my body. So, of course, my wife, who lost 15 pounds, was very angry with me because I lost 10 pounds more than her. But we both dropped a significant amount of weight. But here was the turning point. In the beginning of the 4th week, my regimen would be getting up for chiropractic school. I would have to hustle out of our bedroom when I get up, because I get up about an hour before my wife, to then essentially run across our apartment so I could start coughing and clearing out my lungs. On the Monday of the 4th week, I get out of bed, and interestingly enough, I didn't have an urge to cough. Made it all the way out of the bedroom, all the way to the bathroom on the opposite side of the apartment, still no cough. All the way through that morning, all the way through my day, and all the way through till now, 10 years later. And I've never had a return of my symptoms. Now, step back. I went back to the next module in the course, that following Friday. And I walked in and I talked to the teacher, Dr. David Seaman, and I said, Dr. Seaman, I said, is there any possibility that using this anti-inflammatory nutrition could have helped me? And he looked at me square in the eyes and he said, you finally get it, don't you? And I did. I had never understood the power of nutrition to either heal or hurt my body until I saw it so directly in my own being. So moms and dads, if you have never thought about the power of nutrition, if you've never considered its ability to heal you regardless what you have going on, I want you to dive in, because each of these pieces that I'm going to teach to you are the things that I used in my own life to heal my body. So I encourage you to dive deep, start trying to apply the things that you learn immediately, because nutrition is a process of change for most people. Not everyone's going to do what we did. That's just the kind of personalities that we have. But when we dove in and started applying these things, what we were able to figure out is that it's not as hard as we thought it was going to be. It seems daunting when you feel like you're starting from scratch. The goal of this course is so that you don't feel overwhelmed and that you have very small pieces that you can put into your diet, your nutrition, your family's nutrition right away, so that you can start to turn things and start putting in better choices for yourself and for your kids, and start improving your entire family's health. Because in my own practice here, we have a lot of families that come in and they really don't know what to do with nutrition. They feel very overwhelmed. Moms and dads feel like they'll never get their kids to eat healthy. They almost feel like it's an impossible task, and it's not. We've worked with so many families in the course of our many years in practice that we've helped so many families to change the course of their, not just their current situation, but their future health, their kids' future health. Because they see the direct effects on all of their family members when they make these changes in their own lives. So let's start diving in. I hope this was helpful, because I wanted you to understand my heart, why we're doing this, and how this can change your health potentially. And if it does, I want you to let me know. So I need you to send me messages to let me know how this is changing your health and your life with your experiences. All right. See you guys.